Namaste and welcome. It is Rishi here from meditatewithrishi.com, and I help people increase their peace. All right, so in today's video, we are going to be speaking about how to feel more grounded, how to feel more centered, okay? So if you're at a place where you feel like your mind is racing in a million different directions, if you feel like you're all over the place and you want to come back, rein in, feel grounded, feel centered, then this video is for you. All right. Now, before we get into that, I've got a gift for you. So for my coaching clients, I created a cheat sheet for peace. It's called the 11 Yogic Rules for Daily Peace. Okay. It's really cool. It's something you can have on your phone as a as a home screen, and it's got peace hacks, essentially simple tips that will increase the amount of peace you feel every day just by doing those little things. So if you fancy checking that out, you can get it at meditatewithrishi.com/cheatsheet. Okay, all right, so let's get into it. How to feel more grounded. Now, the answer I'm going to give you is a really practical answer, okay? The answer is actually in the question itself. So, are you ready? Are you ready for it? The answer to how to feel more grounded is simply to spend more time on the ground. Simple, isn't it? It really is, okay? Spending more time on the ground will make you feel more grounded, okay? Now, what do we mean by this? What we mean by this is just sitting, okay? So there's two practices I want to recommend. One is called sitting meditation, where you just sit down and do nothing. And the other is called lying down meditation, where you just lie down on the floor or on a yoga mat and do nothing. Do not underestimate the simplicity of these practices. Sorry, what? Do not underestimate the power of these practices just because they're so simple. These are incredible at, just reining in your senses and making you feel very calm, very peaceful, very relaxed, okay? So think of it like this. Let's say you are making some dal or some soup in a pot, okay? And the heat is on and the soup is bubbling. It's bubbling. And it starts essentially, bubbling so much that it's flying out of the pan onto your kitchen walls. You've all experienced that, right? So what do you do? What do you do then? You turn off the heat and just let it sit. You let it sit. And slowly, by and by, what happens is the soup, begins to bubble less and less, and eventually it just settles. It just settles. And you probably figure this already. What we're speaking about, is your mind. Your mind is like that soup, right? Because when the heat is on, which is when you are moving about your day, you are just relentlessly going from one thing to the other. These days we take pride in, I've got back-to-back meetings. I've got back-to-back meetings, right? Even our weekends, for many people, are back-to-back. A lunch here, a dinner there, a night out, a concert, all these things. There's so much going on that we rarely, if ever, take time to just sit, okay? And allow ourselves to rest, allow ourselves to recharge and, get nourished, essentially, okay? So the benefits of these practices of just sitting and just lying down are immense. According to the science of yoga, your body and mind are not separate. It's not body and mind. It is body-mind, okay? So when the body becomes still, the mind becomes still. So to still your mind, you don't need any fancy meditation technique. You don't need anything fancy. All you need to do is just sit down and become totally still. Okay? So let's talk about the practicalities. How would you do this? When would you do this? How do you fit it into your day? Okay, very simple. So I've got 3 ways for you to fit it into your day. The first one is very simply, you block out time in your calendar, okay, to just sit down. You block out time in your calendar to just sit down. Ideally, you want to be doing 60 minutes, but you can start with 20 minutes. You can start with 30 minutes, okay? And then you can move on to doing 2 sittings of, let's say, 30 minutes a day. Where I am right now, and I don't expect you to do this, but where I am right now is I'm doing 3 hours, okay? So I've got a timer for 3 hours, and for 3 hours every single day, I just sit, or I just lie down. Sometimes I fall asleep, but that's okay. but you allocate that time, right? It's really, really important for your mental peace, essentially. So 60 minutes you block out. You have to have an official time where you are just sitting, okay? Official time where you're just sitting and doing nothing else. Eventually, when you become really still, when you relax the body, you may feel like just focusing on the breath, and then you just sit and focus on the breath. If you want to learn how to meditate properly, then I can teach you that in one-to-one sessions, right? So you can book that on my website. But essentially, you want to sit down once a day and do nothing, okay? Block out that time in your calendar, okay? That's number 1. Number 2 is that you spend some time taking a break every single hour. Okay, so number 2 is an hourly break from your work. So let's say you're working for 60 minutes, okay? You set a timer or an alarm to go off after 55 minutes, and you spend 5 minutes just closing your eyes and just sitting again. This time it can be a bit more informal. You don't need to, get on, on the yoga mat. Just in your chair, just close your eyes and just sit. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to do anything. Just sit, close your eyes. And when you open your eyes after 5 minutes, you will feel so much more refreshed. You will feel like you have the energy to put in another hour of work or whatever you need to do, okay? So number 1, block out time, 60 minutes every day. Number 2, an hourly break. Take an hourly break every hour for 5 minutes and just close your eyes. It will be incredible how refreshed, how centered you will feel after that. And number 3 is, if you are doing exercise, if you are doing a gym workout or yoga, whatever it may be, you need to allow your body to rest immediately after the exercise. So if you're familiar with yoga, after doing a yoga session, there is lying down in Shavasana, or the corpse pose, right? And this lying, when you lie down, again, you become totally still. So you go from, a lot of movement during your exercise to total stillness. And what this does is first of all, it relaxes your body, right? It gives you deep rest, but it also balances the energies through the body, which makes you feel very calm, very centered, essentially, right? So this whole idea of being grounded, right? It doesn't need to be anything fancy, like going into an amazing garden and walking barefoot. Like, yes, that's amazing, that helps, right? If you can do that on a weekend, do it. But daily, practical tips, right? This is what I want to share with you. So once again, just to summarize, block out time on your calendar every day to just sit. Number 2, take hourly breaks, okay? 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you can. Again, to just sit, just close your eyes and relax. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And number 3, if you are doing exercise, which you should be, then after your exercise, spend at least 10 or 15 minutes. Reduce your workout time if you have to. Spend 10 or 15 minutes just lying down. Still, totally still. No movement. No movement. This whole act of making the body totally still, it activates the healing powers. It activates your body's natural healing powers. You don't need any medicine or a hospital or a doctor. If you want to heal, just become totally still. Animals do this, right? look at dogs, for example. When a dog is wounded, you'll see what it does is it just goes away into a quiet corner and just becomes completely still and just lies down. It doesn't even eat for a couple of days. It allows all the energy in the body that could have been used for digestion, that could have been used for anything else, to channel itself into healing. Stillness is really, really powerful, and you don't need to do anything fancy to practice it. In fact, you need to not do. You need to not do. Just sit. Just sitting does everything. Just sitting does everything. Hence my favorite quote. My favorite quote, just sitting, doing nothing, the grass grows by itself. You can experience this for yourself. If you just let things be and you just sit, a lot of things in life will just happen. Family problems, other problems will take care of themselves. Because things are always happening, right? We control very little, if anything. What we need to do is we need to cultivate this allowing, this letting be. Because if you think you're in control of anything, that is the biggest illusion that you're in. We don't control anything. We don't. Okay, if you take anything from this video, is take some time every day to just sit. Just sit, and automatically you will feel more grounded. Automatically you will feel centered. That is, in fact, the opposite of scattered stillness. Just sit. Okay, so that is all. Now I want to do a shameless plug over here. So if you are at a place in life where you've decided that, you know what, I just want peace. My inner peace is the most important thing. I want to slow down. I want to live true to myself more authentically, okay? Then this is something that I can help with. So you can have a look on meditatewithrishi.com. I've got a coaching program called The Path to Stillness. And if what you read resonates with you, then you can book a free chat with me to see whether this is something that is for you, okay? So that is it. Thank you very much for listening, and remember to just sit. Namaste.